Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Simply Local San Diego. I'm Brad Weber with Local Umbrella Media. We're here in gorgeous Coronado at the IQ Podcast Studios. And my guest today, this is going to be interesting. He's a friend of mine, someone I've known for a while, Mr. Tom Frederick with San Diego Flood Restoration. Tom, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, Brad. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Well, Tom, we'll talk a little bit about how we met and your background and whatnot. And obviously, as the name implies, you do flood restoration. And we'll be talking a little bit about flood restoration and maybe the ins and outs of it. But we're going to talk about something that it goes a little bit deeper. And if you're out there and you've had anything happen to your home, whether it's a flood or anything else, normally insurance companies get involved. And one of the main subjects today is going to be about how insurance companies operate. And sometimes they don't operate the way the consumer would be happy with, or maybe that's fair or whatnot. So we're just going to talk about some little things behind the curtain that you may not be aware of. And I think it's important for all of us because we're in, no matter what industry we're in, there's always somebody that knows behind the scenes. And we just kind of go buy things and spend money and go to the doctor and lots of different things. And you don't really know who's get your car fixed. What are these guys doing back there?
That's
they bring
right.
it back and what happened. So anyway, I'll let you talk for a while.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
We're all consumers, right? So it's like you said, you don't, the auto repair guy, you don't really know what he's doing. The water damage, the plumber under the sink, you don't know. And before I start, I'd like to say that there's so many insurance. There's some insurance companies that are stand up, and everything I say today, I just want to before I get into the guts of it, I just want to say that I'm not an attorney. I'm just going to talk about the lawsuit that I was involved with one of the major insurance companies. But I do water damage cleanup, fire damage, smoke, mold, that kind of thing. And been doing it for a while. That's code for, a long time, 20 plus years. And it's good. I had an adjuster say it to me once, and I heard, and this is the best definition I could find for the way restoration, because there's bad restoration companies.
Of course,
there's definitely bad, and there's a lot of fraud, unfortunately. But the adjuster said that what the adjuster says and what the water restoration companies say, 80% all that they agree 100%. And that's just pretty much down the line. It's that 20% that is bad.
The devil's in the details.
The devil's in the details. And if the consumers really knew what services they're being asked not to have performed, or they're not being reimbursed for by the insurance companies, it's bad. It's bad. It's just like getting shorted.
Well, it's scary because, homes, you're probably in biggest investment for most people. And the car is a great analogy, I think, because we all have to have our car fixed from time to time, either just serviced. I mean, I took my car into just to get my oil changed 3 or 4 months ago, and I came home with a leak, and all I had was a oil change. Well, I took it back to the place and said, hey, something's wrong. Did you not put the plug in right? And they said, nope, we did everything. It wasn't us. And not a whole lot I could do, but I took it to someone we both know.
Okay.
And
what did he say?
He said the plug wasn't put in right.
No,
there wasn't a gasket, and all he did was change the gasket. My car doesn't leak anymore. So I mean, it's just, that's one that everybody goes through, I think, and everybody kind of worries whether you buy a car from a dealership and take it in there. And people that work in dealerships, I know there's great dealerships out there, not disparaging anyone, but other people I've known that work there say, don't ever bring your car in here, because the best way to just stay away from us, because we're here to make money. We're not here to help you. So you find the local independent guy a lot of times that, you're referred by somebody. And that's how we came to, it's referral business. And, I'm just going to give a little shout out for you is I wouldn't have you on here if I didn't, know who you were. And because I'm going to promote you by being on here too. And Tom is, he's been around for a long time, very honest guy. I know actually quite a few people that have not only used you, but know people that have used you, and I always get good results. So that's your little shout out for you.
That means a lot. I appreciate that.
But back to what you were saying, insurance is a good thing. It's a necessary thing. We should all have it. Don't go away from this saying I
No.
hate insurance companies. I'm not going to have insurance, because you need it, but you have to know, you have to know what you're doing a little bit. You can't be totally educated, but you need to listen to both sides of the story.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit the details about this one instance that you're involved in.
Yeah. Again, I want to reiterate that there's a lot of great insurance companies. There's a lot of great adjusters. It's just once in a while you really get pushed to the wall, and it's just bad. And so I was involved in this claim, obviously, and the adjuster wrote back and said, no, you don't have to perform the services. And just to make sure I want to get this right, I just want to tell you her reply, the adjuster. So, excuse my eyes are like yours.
No.
It's tough. So I had told the adjuster, no, those services that I provided were really important, necessary. There was a two-year-old child in the house. It was ceiling insulation that had fallen from the ceiling leak.
Okay.
We had to do a lot of cleaning. And I said, I'm going to tell the homeowner that's definitely in their best interest. And her reply was, you may do as you see fit. We are reducing the estimate by $230, and we'll explain to the homeowner that we cannot approve those charges and that they would not be normal, customary, or needed. And that's, I mean, that just floored me.
Yeah.
And I said, I've had enough, because I've been doing this for 20 years, and every loss adjusters will do what they do, and they have to, because there is a lot of fraud. Right. But when they just go too deep, I just broke. I just said, I have to sue them. Well, didn't want to sue them. I called them and I said, you've got to do this. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. So I said, okay. So I served them. And this is a national insurance company. This is one of the big guys.
You know the name. We're not going to say
you know the name. We're not going to say it.
Okay.
And I served them. And within a week, they called me and they wanted to settle.
Of course.
And I said no. And he said, well, we're going to offer you everything you asked for and then some. So we're going to offer you like $1,200. And I said, you know what? It's just not worth it. And then I had sent up, because I wanted everything in writing, right? So I sent the insurance company, my contact, a letter. I said, thank you for the email and our talk yesterday. Thank you for the offer to pay. I decided to decline your offer as I do not agree with your position that you broke the law. The law, by the way, is referred to as intentional interference with an existing contract. And there's precedence for this.
Of course.
And I won't get into that, but it's an easy one to look up if anyone's so interested. And then I finished by saying, to me, this is more than financial. I have had several occasions working with this particular adjuster. In my opinion, they've done this many times. This is not, in my opinion, this is not right legally or morally. Again, thank you for your kind offer. And so I went to court, and boy, that judge, he wanted to make sure I served him properly, because serving corporations are rough. Right. You got to go through some hoops, and luckily I did it. And another reason I didn't take this offer of more than what I was suing for was, or what I had asked for, is that they wouldn't admit any guilt.
Right.
But if you went in court, it's sealed. It's a done deal. It's public information that they had lost, and they were found to be guilty. So I took them to court and I won. And $250 was so not worth my time.
Of course.
I think, if it was I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but it just definitely wasn't about the money.
Yeah.
And anybody can see that.
So can we estimate, what the claim was for? I mean, how much was the claim for? Somebody had a flood in their home. You came in and fixed it.
I think the claim was about $5,000.
$5,000. And you had something that was going to cost them $1,000 or $1,200 more.
I don't want to get in the weeds.
Okay.
So I'll just say that for this part of it, it was $250.
Okay, and that's what they
Yeah,
said.
it was
And it
the-
was because there was a child in the home. There was just you were just looking out for
Yeah,
the
I
people
was
and
just
saying,
looking for their best interest.
for
I
$250.
mean, if you had a newborn, don't you want your house clean as good as it can be?
I would think so. I'd be pretty careful. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So,
So that little bit of money, not that we're going to put specifics, but that little bit of money, they just wouldn't do it. You did the right thing. So
no, and I did,
yeah.
and I was talking to your friend yesterday on the phone.
Mhm. We're doing a story about Tom, so you can read it in the whole case. This is kind of an overview, but next month we're going to have an article in the newspapers
Right.
about this whole thing, and it'll be more detailed. So that person was our writer, writing an article about Tom and interviewing him about the gory details.
Yeah, yeah. So I was really excited you invited me for two reasons.
Mhm.
One, if you're a homeowner, it's not like it was 30, 40 years ago, where you called up your agent and they
Right.
filed a claim for you and you get everything you want
Mhm.
and everything's rosy and you shake. It's not like that
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It is brutal out there. And if you think, I better watch what I say, because again, this is all my opinion. I don't
Mhm.
want to get myself in trouble
Right.
or anybody else, but
Opinion
you
based
just-
on experience.
yeah,
right?
you just really have to make a decision of who you want to you do your homework. Okay. And see, I don't work for the insurance company. There's people out there called preferred providers,
Right.
and technically they don't work for the insurance company, but their phone rings all day long from
Right.
jobs from the insurance company.
Exactly.
So who are you going to be loyal to if you get phone calls all day?
Right.
From the
They're not going to
insurance
rock the
company?
boat for $250. They're going to cover it
No,
up,
they're gonna
go
say,
on,
"We'll
and
cover it,
nobody's
go
going
up."
to blame
Yep,
them.
yep.
And
And what's worse, a lot of times it's just not the same. So I'm what they call an independent.
Mhm.
I don't work for an insurance company. I don't represent an insurance company. I don't, and it's my signature is from the homeowner. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna, the car example, should the
Mhm.
fender be repaired or replaced?
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and replace it.
Right.
If need be. So just be careful as a homeowner and make sure you pay attention.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And it's a big deal. I mean, I had a flood before I knew you. Unfortunately, I had a flood in my house, and it's talk
Right.
about a big deal. They come in and carve into the
Oh,
walls
yeah.
and put fans for days in your house and
Yeah.
patch it up and go on. But do I really know? Is there moisture behind those walls? Did they do it too fast?
Right.
You got me worried now a little bit, Tom. I'll have to,
Right.
but like we said at the start, it's worth doing a little homework. And we all have busy lives and all that stuff. But when it's your house, when it's your health, when it's your car, check references, go with people you've been referred to or trusted, or there's some other reason you can kind of get closer to the actual human to human interaction there versus the insurance companies will do it here. Here's how much it costs. Go send this guy out there, patch it up, get the heck out of there. And let's move on.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens. And in most cases, you never find out that, it may be years later before you find either the kids got sick, he could get sick 2 years from now or 20 years from now.
Right.
The car might die 2 miles from now or 20,000 miles from now. And,
Right.
there's no accountability there. So,
Right.
yeah.
And everything used to be different, but like I said, there's some bad restoration companies and there's some insurance adjusters that kind of are, just kind of watching the penny over the quality a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it gets settled out, but sometimes it's just something I couldn't let go.
Yeah.
And I may keep pursuing this. I may keep doing it, especially now that I have some precedents with other insurance companies when they come in, and because they short every job. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter if they're unrealistic or if and I got an adjuster who called me last week. Actually, he didn't call me, he sent me an email with an attachment. He had like 7-8 line items, and I checked every one of them, and like 2 or 3 was you're right, that's a different code. We use a specialized software program that the insurance companies like. It's called Xactimate.
Okay.
And he was right. I just replied, yeah, you're right about this, you're right about that. No, it was 5/8 drywall all the way around because it was previously a hotel at one time, and now it's a condominium complex. And it was very amicable, and it was very like black and white. And he ended up, I sent him back. I didn't hear from him. He sent a check.
So if you had to put a percentage on it, how many times out of 100 does that happen, and how many times out of 100 does what happened when you finally got frustrated and sued the insurance company?
A lot. It happens a lot. And in our industry, you see, I don't know if this really wants to come out in the industry.
I'm sure it doesn't.
If I've met a lot of adjusters in the last 20 years. And can you imagine if I just did that? Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll just, I'll skirt it. I'll skirt it. They're going to get to like me.
Sure.
Like, hey, Tom, let's throw him some work once in a while. Or let's rubber stamp his claim, because he's always like that. I don't think I'm a good businessman in that respect, because I'm paying for it, because I sometimes feel my sales aren't where they should be, or I get a lot more static from insurance companies because I stand up to them.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes in this world, we've become so crowded and the world's so big, it's hard to have those one-on-one relationships with it. Used to be the family doctor and the mechanic. Everybody went in town. Sometimes that was good and bad, but it was, just easier to, if you did a bad job, and if you stole from somebody or treated somebody bad. I grew up in a town of 800 people, so your reputation got pretty bad pretty quickly. So if you mistreated, now it's kind of easy to hide, so again, you just have to, it's a little more work for everybody. You have to think about how big of a decision this is, and how much work do I put into making sure both sides of this transaction are doing their job and that type of thing. So it's not anything that anyone's never thought about, but it's great that you went back to the lawsuit, and it's frustrating to me. Our legal system's the best in the world, I guess, but it's still very frustrating. I've been through an auto accident where I bumped someone and they sued me, and I was barely touched them, but they demanded, all kinds of health benefit, but the insurance company said, we just got to settle. And I said, no way. I want to go to court and fight this thing. I want to talk to these people in person. I want to get up there on the stand like Perry Mason, but it's just not, just not, it's not doable in many instances, but in, lots of both sides, there's abuse on both sides, and I don't know what we're saying. Just, do your homework.
And one last thing that this COVID changed things. So pre-COVID, adjusters would come out almost every job. COVID, none. And now they're like, well, we can save a lot of money.
Right.
And they don't come out. And this adjuster never had came out.
Right.
So it was like, this is a slam dunk. You haven't come out to the loss, and you're telling me that this was not reasonable?
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
All right. In the old days, you would walk down the street and you'd meet the 2-year-old and meet the family and say, absolutely, we're going to protect this kid, and now it just doesn't work that way. So it's just part of the way the world works. It's bigger, it's less personal. Lots of good things about it, but these are the not so good things about it. So, read the article next month. It's going to be great. It's really interesting. And, I just, be aware. Thanks for making us aware, and thanks for standing up for the kind of the little guy,
just be aware, and it's good to do the good thing. You sleep better.
Exactly.
May not be as rich, but you sleep better.
we all have trade-offs. You got to be, I'm like that in lots of ways. There's good things and there's bad things, and I keep saying you just got to be who you are sometimes, as long as it's not a bad, if you give too much or you let people run over you, sometimes it's okay, because that's who you are. So sometimes if you're a little guy and doesn't get all the work, and you just got to say, I'm giving up a little income for being, for those 2-year-olds and those families out there that you're protecting, really. Right. So it's worth the trade.
Right. Thanks, Brad.
All right. San Diego flood restoration, Tom Fletcher. If you have a flood, you have anything, I really say this from the heart. I think you're in really good hands. I think you should call Tom and, get the real story, because it's a big decision. Anyway, that's our show. Thanks for being here. Want to thank our sponsors, Attorney King, of course, Aquan Casino, Marina Teal at IB Fitness. And that's a wrap. We'll see you next time.